Hello, bruvs. I recently went to, never mind this hair that's on McCullough's face, Allie McCullough, who has nothing to do with this diary. Though I'm obviously covering her diary after finding her photograph. Recently, I went to an estate sale and there was a 5-year diary there, but it turned out it was empty. But it reminded me that I had purchased another diary. I didn't recall that it was a 5-year one. According to my notes that I placed on a subsequent blog, I found it in, what day was this? Sometime in 2017. I don't know the date here. Let's see if I go to the bottom of it. Sometime in September of 2017, so basically 7 years ago. And my notes are as such. I'm not recalling any of the research I did into this, but I made, I think, how many posts did I make? I think 50 some posts, maybe. Maybe I'm wrong. More like about 30 or 40 posts. But according to this, I'll just read what I wrote. The birth of a name dropper. I speak from the vantage point of ignorance concerning both Miss Mary Katherine Hester, not to be confused with her, and the city of Winston-Salem, North Carolina, at the beginning of the calendar year 1938, when this 5-year diary commenced to be in its present form. For I knew the latter only vaguely by name and still do, the former nonce, having plucked her identity off the frontispiece only hours before this writing, and the book itself as a mere acquaintance, having purchased it from an estate sale in the Metro Detroit area for $5 earlier that day. So it's basically literally 7 years ago. I guess it does say Winston-Salem. Did not see that part. It must have been stuck. But as you can see, January 1st and 2nd are missing. But let's continue with my notes. While I will take blind stabs at knowing each, I mostly plan to reproduce the text in full through both scanned photos and transcribed text. Let the words create their own mosaic. Luckily, from what I have gleaned through a fairly quick perusal of some pages and accompanying ephemera stuffed within the book, which you shall see. Might as well just look at it. Mary Katherine Hester. She was in the Girl Reserve membership in the Young Women's Christian Association in Knoxville. Here's a Christmas card to her from somebody. What's it say? I don't know. Just a price tag of some sort. Old Taylor, call 3-3530-1940. Lewis Hunter, bunch of liquor. Liquor list. What's this? Times Square at night, New York City. Miss Mary Katherine Hester, Knoxville, Tennessee. I have relatives in Knoxville, and I figured that's where I purchased it, but apparently not. It says in my notes I got it in Metro Detroit, which is kind of ironic since... What's this? Sears Roebuck and Company, Knoxville, Tennessee, Gay Street. That's like a main thoroughfare in Knoxville. Evening Dress, February 10th. What year? Doesn't say. Or is that February 18th? Does not say which year. All right, back to the notes. Luckily, from what I have gleaned through a fairly quick perusal of some of the pages in the company ephemera stuff within the book, the scene of Miss Hester's story quickly transfers from Winston-Salem and centers itself in Knoxville, which I have mentioned I have relatives. Winston-Salem was a mere quarter-century old in 1938. After the two neighboring towns merged into one entity, known both as the Twin City and the Camel City for its tobacco heritage. and the namesake brand of the R.J. Reynolds empire. It seemed to have been a combination of the antebellum South and the new mores of a rapidly changing American cultural landscape in the midst of both the Great Depression and the rise of the Civil Rights Movement, among many other societal shifts. Obviously, I must have lifted that from somewhere. The first hospital for black patients to Kate Buding. Okay. Blah, blah, blah. Religious strictures were still touching. Maybe I should read this for the time in 1938. Obviously. The first hospital for black patients, the Kate Buding Reynolds Memorial Hospital, opened in the city in 1938. And Aaron, sister-in-law to the Tobacco Empire's founder, the hospital's namesake, and her husband donated to the formation of the medical facility. Prior to that time, African Americans were neither allowed to practice or seek medical attention in city hospitals. A demand by black physicians to the mayor 2 years prior had facilitated the change in attitude, but didn't procure them equally in the profession, as the white doctors were apparently the lone providers of medicine to the community and their contemporaries, the administrative overseers, despite an otherwise predominantly black staff. Religious strictures were still touching bedrock as far as culture was concerned. Baseball, as well as all organized sports, was banished on Sundays, lest the town fall into the sway of commercializing the Sabbath. Were stick and ball sports allowed, then the pool rooms, cinemas, and bowling alleys would also overflow with worship-weary patrons. R.J. Reynolds was in favor of loosening the drawstrings, but propriety won out, and it would be several years before America's pastime became a Sunday staple in Winston-Salem. Fortune tellers, palmists, and the clairvoyant fared no better, and by March of 1938, they were given the opportunity to receive half of their $200 licensing fee back so long as they left the city. I found no evidence that Madame Tuba and her cohorts retreated willingly, but an ordinance passed in the ensuing weeks made sure that her ilk would receive no legal payments in peddling their trade. None of the turbulent political scene likely touched the core of boy-crazy Mary Katherine Hester, as she whittled away at her inner thoughts a month shy of her 16th birthday, and gave them breath in this ledger tottering between the echoes of both head and heart. How's that for a romance novel first stanza? Bill Woodall sat in the library with her on January 3rd. Bob Scazza. It could be Bob Acasa. It looks like Acasa, actually. Visited her in the afternoon, and she penned a missive to Howard Petrea. Could be Petrid. And then she relinquished herself to studying. Thus begins the name-slinging and wrangling in of boys. This will probably be a second project, along with the Allie McCullough diary, which on December 31st will be the official end of it, but since I started in June, that one will continue until next, whatever, May or whatever, June, and then I can just start this one fresh in January. See what I can pull from here. There may be some crazy stuff. I assume that Miss Hester eventually made it to Detroit, or the Detroit area. I mean, you figured that's 62. She was 16 then, so she'd be 78 in 2000. And then when I found it, she would have been 95 at the time. So it's very possible that I got it at her estate sale, but I do not recall. I only recall that I had it. What's this? This could be something very important, buddy. Oh well, we'll wait till next July to see what that is. We shall see. This may... at one point, too, I believe she starts using... What's that called? Shorthand. So that's another obstacle in the way of deciphering what this is. Played cards with Max and Dad. Went to school. Obviously, there's days of missing entries. Oh, wait. These are... Oh, yeah. That's right. It's a 5-year diary, and I forgot that all the days are on the same page. That's awful. So yeah, you got 38, 39, 40, and 41. Looks like 42 she did not write in. Look, she was dating M. Barber. That kind of gives away. You kind of have to like hide away. That's crazy. So yeah, 5-year project of doing videos. Hopefully there's some genealogists out there with connections between both cities. Slept all morning, got up. Who knows what that says, and dressed. Went downtown. I met Dad. I had dinner and dated Jack. Helen and I went to the, whatever the hell that says, the grill as usual. Is that what that says, grill? Went to William. Who knows what it says. Lots of deciphering. If I do proceed with this. Luckily, like I said, I've done 30 or so entries, so that helps in the matter. If I do chance to undertake this. But that's the plan, starting January 3rd, 2025.